Today we're going to read a little bit about budding, one of the types of asexual reproduction. So in this article, it's explaining, as we discussed before, that asexual reproduction means you have one parent, right? No sex involved, just one parent. So what is budding? In this type of asexual reproduction, the parent organism, remember one parent, is going to divide itself into two unequal parts. Budding can occur in both unicellular and multicellular organisms. So if something is unicellular, that means it has one cell. If it's multicellular, then it means it has many cells. So this is an illustration, a picture of the hydra. Now, the hydra is usually found in ponds. And so this is a type of multicellular organism. Okay. And so you will actually be watching a video about budding with the hydra today as well. So the hydra here, as it says underneath our picture, there's tiny bumps appears on the parent hydra. So you see all these little bumps here, but this is the one that we're talking about. Okay. This little one on the side. Then the parent hydra develops on the buds. You see these little mini buds coming out through the side. Now you'll see here, eventually, if we follow this arrow to this bud, now it's going to grow. Now there's even bigger and more buds that are growing on the side. When we reach this one here, the bud breaks off to become independent hydra. So basically, now it's no longer attached to the parent. This is the parent. Here's the bud. It's no longer attached to its parent. It's on its own, and it lives independently, which means on its own and by itself. So it begins by developing a small bud, as it says here, on the side. The bud may develop from any part of the organism, but in most cases, there are special areas on the parent organisms that promote bud development. So it really can grow anywhere, as it said here, but there's mostly locations on the bud where it can grow even better. Then the bud breaks off as a completely new organism. Organisms such as yeast. Yeast is another example of something that's unicellular, one cell. Hydra, which is a multicellular organism. That means it has many cells. Sponges and some worms, like a flatworm, they reproduce in this way. Right? So they use budding, just like in our picture here. The two new organisms will have identical DNA, which means they will look exactly like the parent. So one parent, and they look exactly like them. They're twin, the same. Now let's take a look at an example, a picture here of something that's unicellular, which means it's one cell. This is also budding, but in yeast. So here we have, it says a mature yeast cell. So this is the parent cell. Okay. Now you notice if you look at this second picture here, there's that little bump growing. Now you see even more. Here's the bigger picture, and now we can really say that it's budding. Now the nucleus here, which is the basically the center of the cell, it's really is the one that tells everything that the cell needs to do. It's like the boss. So the nucleus divides itself. So see here, this inside section, it's going to divide itself, and here we go. It turns to these two daughter cells. Okay, so they split, and here they are. So in yeast, the mature cells are larger, and they have like an oval-shaped sphere in shape. So kind of think of like an egg has an oval shape. Okay, it's not an exact circle, it's an oval. The cell develops the tiny bulb, then the nucleus divides itself and attaches itself to the daughter bud, and finally separates into a new individual. So you see here it's attached. It divides into two, right? It's no longer just the little edge here, divides into two parts, and then eventually it's going to become just like this one, the daughter cell. And they look exactly alike. So this is an example of unicellular, a one-celled organism that reproduces through budding. So as you saw, the hydra is multicellular, has many cells, and it uses budding. And then there is yeast that's a unicellular organism that reproduces through budding as well.